Why am I entering the M2M market? Just basically because it's exploding in 10 years. It will change the lives of everybody. We will have connected houses, we will have connected healthcare, and we will have connected vehicles. That's the main three areas that people foresee will grow the largest. One interesting thing is that when one of the guys that do this kind of graphs asks some people about think machine-to-machine interactions enables businesses to respond to real-world events. You should remember that until later, because this is interesting. It means that if somebody gains access to data, they can respond on these events. And of course, that requires processing of data. Ericsson is quite fun. They always blew up the numbers, so that's one I wouldn't trust so much. But as you see, they estimate that 1.5 billion vehicles will be connected by 2020. I'm not so sure about that. They may find a little bit too high. The market, oh, it's huge. It's so huge, you can't imagine. Only in Europe, we have 28 countries today, we have over 200 million cars. Passenger vehicles. We are not talking about trucks right now. Oh, and that will grow. Even in Europe, which, if you look at China, is not growing as expected in China, but you know that 31% is quite interesting. And as you see here, what happens in China is a completely different story. So basically, all the vehicles in this market is somewhat disconnected. There are things like Volvo on call or BMW on call or online or whatever it's called, but very few people tick that box during the ordering process. Very few people. It's so few people that ticks that box, so I don't think we even have them on the chart. About how does the vehicle market looks like? You know? In Europe, the average year of a car is about 8 years. In the United States, it's 11 years. So you've got younger cars here, older cars in the United States. It's good to know, because this one fits from 2001. It means that it fits many vehicles, many vehicles. I will jump that over because it just shows the strength, the muscles that the EU has against the United States. But it's not so interesting because it's based on the fact that the United States uses a lot of pickups. So when you compare these numbers, I haven't done this comparison, it's done by European Automotive Manufacturers Association. They say that 130 million passenger cars in the United States and 240 million in Europe. That excludes the pickups, which still are somewhat of a passenger car, even if it just fits one or two persons. Just quickly mention that Volvo, yeah, they are large in Sweden. People like them. Safety and all that. 20% of the Swedish sales during 2012. But they're very small on an international path. They have 6% out of the international market. And this is how it looks in the market. You know, Volkswagen is one that is the largest one. And because Volkswagen has their multi-brand strategy, they also survive the market the best possible way. They have their high brands, Agio, and they have Volkswagen like the medium brand. You know that they have Skoda and Seat also, of course. The brands Fiat, Renault, and Opel, this is a 0 level, decreases in penetration. Quite interesting to see that no one is managing more than 13% out of the total market. Okay, let's talk more tech. So what does this do in the actual vehicle? Okay, we talked about the GPS. Everybody understands that the GPS enables tracking. Okay, cool. The accelerometer, okay, that's cool also. It registers the movements inside the car. It could be used for many purposes. And we extract information from the vehicle. And what we extract typically is the one that is defined in a standard that has been published years ago. And I should just tell you that it has to do with speed, it has to do with the RPM, it has to do with the temperature around the car, and it could be things that are related to fuel consumption. Example, that one that we wrote there, MAF, MAP, These are parameters that are used for fuel consumption calculations. Well, your throttle position, how much you put your feet on the gas. We have diagnostic information. Why should anybody drive inside a repair workshop facility to just hook up the car and look what's wrong with it? That's not the future. Why should anybody drive the car to the workshop to see what's broken? So remote diagnostics is something that we believe is important. I will not say so much about the custom things you could possibly do. We have people asking us for, can you unlock doors, lock doors, turn on the heater, turn on the car, turn off the car? Yeah, everything is possible. But just remember that there are a huge number of different models worldwide for each car. They can even change the electronic system on a model every month. So it basically means that you need to test it on every vehicle, which isn't so funny. So that custom things are typically only done for specific customer and this specific cars or models. As an example, I would give you, say that Sunfleet, Zipcar, the guys that do this kind of new rental thing on the market, they are interested in that function and they can pay for it, but it's just a few cars. Let's talk about roaming. I know that there are a couple of seller companies here, so I will say this, that this doesn't have anything to do. The only thing that I would like to say is that to keep the roaming costs low, you should not just send things out of there to the server or backend solution, what you call it. You should do something with it. And what should you do? Should you binarize it? Should you serialize it on the cable or on the GSM network? You can do that. But you can also develop protocols that more efficiently send data on the cellular network. Okay, so what do I mean by tailored protocols? What I mean is that Google and Facebook, they understand quite early that we need something that is fast, reliable, that isn't JSON or XML to send in our data center. So Google created something called Google Protocol Buffers, and Facebook created something called, I can't remember, Apache licensed, Thrift, which basically cuts down the size of the packages. So that's something that's really important in the M2M industry, because you need to cut costs. You need to cut costs everywhere, because the mobile carriers, some of them may help you with that, but in the end of the day, they just earn money based on the volume that you ship on their GSM network. So it's very important to work with a protocol and what you're sending between your device and the receiver side or sending side. Automile decided from day one that the customers should never have any subscriptions, should never have any roaming costs or any SIM cards, or even know that there is a SIM card inside of it, because there is a SIM card, of course. In any device that communicates on the GSM network, a SIM card is needed. No, everything should be free actually, almost. There are a couple of hiccups, of course. The device box, we call it, because it looks like a box. Then we created cloud. Cloud is a modern word. I may call it ecosystem or something else. It's basically a developer graphical user interface to see what you gain access to. It also contains an application programming interface, an API that I believe that most people that work with integrations understand what it is. It's a JSON REST-based interface, easy to use, very easy to use. We built SDK for iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. An SDK, you doesn't know what it is, it's a software development kit that quickly enables you to, in somewhat, shorten the lead time for your development. You could use it, you don't have to use it. Just free. Do whatever you want with it. Talk about it. Let's look at this again. Okay, so the device uses TCP. Very simple. Some of you tech guys may wonder, why do we don't use UDP? Yeah, the reason is basically that we do a lot of compression that needs to be acknowledged on the server side. So if we send things off UDP, we aren't sure that it's received. So we need a socket. Okay, we have something called command dispatchment, firmware over there, and all that kind of mumbo-jumbo. Command dispatchment means that the device, when it wakes up during the ignition on the car, asks us, what should I do today? Okay, you should do this today, because this is the instruction we are giving you. Everything that happens is processed inside what we call the Automile engine. It's a binary, high-performance, real-time inspection engine that basically takes information that streams in real time in sockets and inspects it. What you can do with our API is that you can go ahead and say that things that happens here, I would like things to happen here. So if you build an application, you could say that if the temperature, that is coolant temperature, is high, you should do an HTTP post to my system, or you should send an SMS to somebody, or you should call them up and say that press 1 to get somebody on the phone to help you with your car or something like that. You can do whatever you want, actually. Then it's time to big data. Do something with the big data, because it's big data. That's tricky. You can't store everything, because it's too much, but you could store something. And we try to leverage what we believe is the most important things. We do map reduce and all that kind of stuff you've heard about in the big data industry. I will not talk out here about databases or what we are using and not using. I'll just say that it's very much that's flowing in the system. On top of that, we do a security solution, OAuth 2. Basically, it's similar to what Facebook is doing and Twitter is doing. We call it Automile Connect. Whenever you gain access or ask information from the consumer or the owner of the information, you need to ask, what do you need? Oh, I need a position and I need diagnostic information. Claim that to the user. You know, when you connect your Facebook account, you get a small box saying that this application would like to gain access to your profile or email address. Would you like to approve that? Yes, I will. It works identically here. Approve or deny. Control of information. Quickly, the ultimate goal for Automile to work with its business model is have this one cleared out. This guy, he's the guy that sends the units up to the consumers or the owners or users. I will not say who these are today or who it is. I will just say that it could be you or anybody else. Basically, you take the device, you create whatever you want, you subsidize it on the market, and you create the social car community, and we reach our ultimate goal. Okay, go back to the business model again. Is it possible? Yeah, the cloud platform is free, storage is free, there are no subscriptions, there are no fees for the API, there are no restrictions in the API, and who owns the data? You decide, but it's typically the one that has the device in its hands. Figuring out where to get the device, that's the thing with it. I have 7 or maybe 6 devices here today. 3, 4, 5, 6. I would give them away, but I will not give them away if you can give me really tricky questions today. Let's see if somebody can give me. We have 5 minutes left. 7?
Yeah, 9.
Try to give me a couple of questions.
How do you make your money?
The money we can only make when we receive our ultimate goal, to have the largest social car community. Because we believe that when you have a good amount of customers, is an easy way to create added services that the customer is willing to pay micro fees for. Whenever you get that package, just remember that there's a guy here called Felix. Felix? Well, with a Apple laptop. I'm just kidding. That's the guy that handles technology at Automile. So when you get that bag, you need to go to him to get the account. Okay? Whenever you have time. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, how did you convince all these cellular networks in all the countries? Like, do you have to go to all of them individually, or are there any, like, if you would like to do the same thing, is there even an easy way to get this free cellular network access?
Nothing is free. Everything costs.
You need to have the question repeatedly.
How do you, if you take the Automile concept on a broader scale, is it easy for you to offer free roaming? Is that the question?
Yeah, kind of like I would also like to have this easy access to all of, like, I get that it might not be free for you, but it's free for the customer. I guess
it's just basically if there is a partner in the country that is willing to pay a certain fee to us, then it's okay for us. But they need to understand that they also need to add values to the customer, so the customer accepts to put it into the vehicle. Sure.
I don't doubt there will be market leaders soon, but then how do you protect from competitors and copiers? Is this something secret in there, or do you have a patent in there?
We do not have any patents.
Repetera frågan.
Yeah. Do Automile have any patents, anything to protect itself against others that will do the same thing? No. We don't have anything to protect us.
You have an algorithm.
We have algorithms. We have 200 million cars in Europe. It will certainly take a competitive actor a year, 2 years to bring something up, and there will certainly be a couple of companies already doing this. Of course, but there's 200 million cars, so I expect that there will be competition. So many good questions. So we have how many minutes? 2?
5.
5. Okay.
Have you tried automatic yet?
Yeah, we tried all the different products that exist in the market, even the Chinese guys, the ones that make this beautiful interface that controls this equipment. And basically, I can just say for this, it looks like that and it works like that. Everybody has a point in what they're doing, but we do not believe that the customer is willing to accept any fees from day one. They may accept to pay something for added services, but not for the device.
So you're saying that it's all for free for me as a consumer, but I think we all know that kind of in this game of internet, etc., there's very few things that are free. And then what am I actually paying? What do I give away?
That's a really good question, and for that question, I will answer that. As a customer, we believe that integrity is important, but there are things in your life that you are willing to share to others to simplify your life. I will just give you an idea. Are you willing to share with your partner today, the one that fixes your car when it's broken? Are you willing to share when there's a problem with your car? You're willing just to share that there is a problem, not at the location or anything else. Are you willing to share that?
Definitely,
yeah. Then there's a business. Because everybody understands that taking a vehicle inside a repair shop, putting it onto a lift, plugging diagnostic connector, waiting 15 minutes, oh God, that costs more than that device, I can promise you. Already at that stage, we solved the problem. But everything is not for free. Something you have to give away. Okay, sorry.
How about the privacy data? Where is that stored? Is that on your servers, or is that, and what's the integrity there? Like, are you planning to sell the data, or?
Very good question. And that question I would like to be asked many times, because privacy and protection for the data is crucial for Automile. So what we do is that first we store everything in Automile, basically in our data center, basically here in Stockholm. Okay? We don't store it at Amazon. We don't sell anything. But we do make aggregations of data, exactly like Waze. Could we resell aggregated data? Not really in that way. What we would do is that we will give it back to you. Meaning that if we have data that affects your life, we can give it back to you. If we would sell anything, which we wouldn't make, it's like that you need to accept it somewhat. Okay, I would like you to send me this information about my vehicle that relates to my vehicle ownership. But that one will be deemed from you and you need to confirm it. But we will always use aggregated data to give you a better experience.
My question was about the data, and you named C. Are you planning to use the data to interact with that kind of free GPS software?
I need to understand that again.
Waze.
Waze, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Waze, yeah.
Waze. Are you planning to interact with Waze
to supply them with data related to traffic behavior?
Traffic, yeah.
Not today. We don't have, if you look at our end user agreements, it doesn't allow us to send anything to Waze. But we could possibly do it if it adds the end user experience.
And is the data secured in some sort of agreement with a customer?
Yeah,
so
the data
they can have sole access to their own data.
Exactly. The user can always delete all the data from Automile system. Could always do that. Anytime. They may delete it. We can't promise you that we will delete it in the backup system the same day. But we promise you that we delete it permanently. For good.
That's not the same as access to the
Exactly. Yeah, the access is only governed by the user. The user gives access to people or applications. We don't give anybody else access. So it's the applications that you build or download that asks you for information in Automile system.
Like Facebook Connect.
Yeah, Facebook Connect, these kind of. Go, shoot.
Is there any way the car manufacturers can actually limit, given that you become very big and they have their own systems, Mercedes, etc., have it today, can they limit the data that you receive from this by either rebooting the chip or start manufacturing otherwise?
The manufacturers cannot, or they can never prohibit access to generic data in the vehicle. But what they could do, like Volvo did, is that they can put a PIN code inside the electronic system, which means that if you do things that are not standardized, you need a PIN code, which is, for customers, it's like locking down the complete vehicle. That could be an idea. That could certainly happen for other trademarks, but I believe that Volvo got quite damaged by that behavior, because the third-party repair shops wasn't so happy about that. Are we done?
Yeah, I think
Time
we're
out.
done.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, everybody.